What's up guys, I'm back today with another Xbox One versus PlayStation 4 video. So today we're going to be discussing the design of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and I'd just like to say a few things before we get underway. Now, firstly, we can never really say much about the design until we actually have it in our hands, until we can actually, hold the console, feel it, have a look around. We'll never really know how we truly feel about it, although I'm just going to give you a few inputs of how I feel personally about both the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 at this current point from what we've seen, for example, from the videos and designs, and some of the 3D designs as well. So without further ado, let's get underway and start discussing and talking about this, because I'd actually like to speak about a few aspects of the design, despite the fact this is going to be a significantly smaller part of the Versus series in comparison to others, and I just want to know what you guys think in general. So, design for me is something that I don't really take seriously. I mean, for me, what's on the box doesn't matter as long as it counts as what's in the box. Now, I want the design to be built with performance in mind, so high ventilation is priority. We don't want to see a repeat of the Red Ring of Doom, and we don't want to see a repeat of the Yellow Light of Death, or whatever they were called, but that's something we don't want to see again, and that's what I wanted to be kept in mind whilst we started thinking about, oh my god, PlayStation looks like this, oh my god, Xbox looks like this. So, performance and, sustainability was really key to me when I was looking at both of the designs. Now, in all honesty, the visual aspect for both of the consoles doesn't really matter to me. I mean, I like both designs. Obviously, I have my bits and pieces in certain places where I think, okay, is this going to be an issue, or there's a certain thing about it that kind of, puts me off maybe that little bit. But in all honesty, visual aspect is not, massive for me. So, for example, the Xbox One, my only complaint is its size. Now, it's a little bit chunky for, considered what's under the boot, and considering the fact that it has an external power brick as well, the size bothers me a little bit. I think it's down to the constant inputs and outputs, how much of the TV they're focusing on that's kind of led to this size. But other than that, I actually find it quite visually appealing. I like the black on the front, on the side. The shimmer of it looks really nice to me. I like the fact that it's not too fancy. It's just a simple glowing button. That simplicity is a nice thing to have, because some of the concept designs people were posting looked ridiculous. So my only issue is its size. That's my only problem with the Xbox One. Otherwise, I think it looks pretty good. If it didn't have a power brick and it was a little bit smaller, in all honesty, it probably would be my favorite looking console. Now, the PlayStation 4 is probably my personal choice if I were to go for visuals. So, if you're looking, for this aspect of the Versus series, I would say that the PlayStation 4 definitely has the edge, just down to the fact that it's so small, and down to the fact that there is no power brick. That's what puts it apart from the Xbox One. Now, the PlayStation 3 design was very it was curved, it was relaxed. Now, the PlayStation 4 design has taken some very sort of upbeat steps. Now, I can tell you the reason for this is to appeal to the Japanese market. Now, the Japanese market is very big on design, and if you get the design of the console looking wrong, you're going to lose, believe it or not, you'll actually lose a lot of sales. So they're very keen on design. So the type of sharp edges and glowing colours that you're seeing are generally because of that, not just because of it, but there is a little bit of input there. Now, the PlayStation 4's glowing light, I feel, is a nice effect. Simplicity again, as we were talking about, just a simple glowing light to give it that little bit of edge. My only complaint with the PlayStation 4's design is, well, two things. Firstly, the ventilation only comes out of the back, so that could be a little bit of a worry if you have your PlayStation, put to the back of your TV set or something. I tend to leave it so the sides are more ventilated than just the back, so I would have preferred side ventilation. And secondly, the fact that the USBs are sort of dug in between the gap. That's my only other issue. The USB ports on the Xbox 360 Slim, for example, are a pain in the ass to get to because they're dug into this little gap, and you kind of just have to kind of guess if you're going to somehow put it in. It's just a strange thing. Now, both designs also feature, a touch power button, so touch-sensitive power button. I'm 50-50 on that. Now, touch buttons are great in some cases. They look cool, they sound cool, they are meant to be cool, But when you're leaning over to grab a case and the sleeve of your shirt turns off your game, then you're going to start complaining. It depends on sensitivity and it depends to how much it reacts. So I only really want it reacting to my fingers and maybe, my arm, my toe possibly if I'm feeling really lazy. But I don't really want it to react too much to my clothing because it will turn off a lot, especially if I'm leaning over it or something like that. Ventilation on both of the consoles is looking pretty good. Like I say, my only concern with the PlayStation 4 is the fact that it's only back ventilation. The Xbox One features side and some back ventilation, so that's pretty good news. Power bricks. Now, power bricks are an interesting thing. Internal power brick for the PlayStation, so internal power supply, whereas the Xbox One has an external power supply, which is, like I say, probably the gap that has been made, especially in the design capability. The fact that the PlayStation 4 is internal and for some mythical way a lot smaller than the Xbox One, considering it has an internal power supply. So, the power brick on the Xbox One sort of matches the front of it, as you can see, the glowing X symbol. It doesn't look bad, considering it's a little bit smaller than the 360 Slim power brick, which is probably good news, but by and large, it's still a power brick, so I find that a pain in the ass, especially with the design of the Xbox One. Like I say, so overall, the consoles visually don't really matter to me. It's down to performance, really. So if we're not getting the solders on the the motherboards and all that kind of stuff heating up, which is primarily what causes a lot of functional errors inside of a console, that's fantastic news. Build for performance, that's what I'm looking for. A build for performance, and it looks like both the consoles have done that really well. Like I say, I have my only two complaints about the PlayStation. My odd complaint about the Xbox One, the power brick's a pain in the ass, the size of it's quite aggravating. The PlayStation, I only have one or two complaints, but overall, I say the PlayStation 4 looks a lot more visually appealing to me as a person. If the Xbox One was smaller, I could probably contest this a bit more, but visually appealing wise, the PlayStation 4 looks a lot better to me, and the fact that it just doesn't have a power brick, sets it apart as well. I'm kind of digging the stand that they have on the bottom of it as well. It comes with like a little stand casing thing, so you can either put it on its side or upright, however you want it to look. So like I say, guys, down to performance. That's what you're looking for when you're going to buy these consoles. It's what the consoles this generation are based around a PC-styled platform. They're trying to make it easier for PC developers. They're trying to make the consoles PCs in their own sort of way. Ergo, you need a similar amount of performance of a PC ventilation-wise. You've got your water cooling in PCs, you've got high ventilation, zero noise ventilation, which is actually a feature on the Xbox One, zero noise ventilation. That's a great bit of news. PlayStation hasn't confirmed it yet, most likely will, but zero noise is fantastic. I can give you an idea of what my Xbox One sounds like. It's like a very low buzzing noise, but it's almost constant. It very much powers up as well as the disc goes in. So zero noise, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for high ventilation, zero noise, and performance in mind. So, like I say, guys, Xbox One versus PlayStation 4 videos, I'd just like to say a quick thank you. I'm extremely happy with the subscribers, the views and the likes that I've been getting recently. And as I said, in this category, the PlayStation 4 has won. And in the next category, we're going to be looking at some of the online services of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So it's been me, Lachlan. Make sure you check out the other parts of this video, and I should see you very soon.